Welcome to this episode of The Gateway, your show to the broadcasting live from United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM New Orleans. And that was horrible, I know. So my friend says that I need to get better at going in and going out. And you know what, you guys? It's just not going to happen. I'm just not that kind of girl. So, yeah. I'm not very good at reading scripts, and I hate intros and outros. It is what it is. But I tell you what, the debates are going on right now. So I know a lot of you are watching the debates instead of us, and that's okay. But I know that you'll be watching this show later on. MaryLynn Bast, she is my guest tonight. She has been attuned to the paranormal world since she was 4 years old. So we have a lot of similarities in that regards. She's gifted with the ability to see and communicate with spirits and has honed her gifts as a certified life coach and a Reiki Master. She's an author. She's an intuitive artist. She's using her unique abilities to assist seeking answers, and she's on a show called PSYDkicks Paranormal PodCast. So for those who don't know, she is also one of the co-hosts for Para with the Normal, which if you've ever watched that show with Mike, he's a little out there. I just love those guys. Let me pull her up here. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
That was the most awful intro ever, wasn't it?
You did okay.
I'm just not feeling it. I hate intros and outros. It is what it is. I hate them. I can't get it down. I never know what to say. I never know what to bring the guest in. I don't know how to put them out. So especially when you're in good conversation,
Yeah, do a recording at the beginning of it just to get it going.
I thought about doing that. That's a good idea. I've already started working on a little intro to play for these from now on so that I don't even have to worry about it. I just hit play and there it goes. And then I just come on. Hi, I'm C.L. Thomas.
Makes it easier so you don't have to keep doing that over and over again.
Exactly. So to kick us off, MaryLynn, can you tell us, do I call you Mary or MaryLynn?
Either one. I go by either.
Okay, because I've heard it both ways. So I didn't know what you prefer.
It's mostly MaryLynn, and the reason for that is because whenever I started writing my books, there was a MaryLynn Bast who is a PhD, and so she does doctor books. So it's I don't think paranormal fantasies is going to go. So yeah, so I had to put my name together to make it MaryLynn, and it just stuck.
Well, tell me, okay, I know you started having your experiences at the age of 4, and very similarly, so have I. So what have your experiences been?
Just the whole gambit, actually. From 4 years old, talking to the lady as I'm sitting on the front porch, just seeing spirits, seeing energies, just seeing, everything that's out there. Whenever I look at somebody, I see shadows behind them. And so most people say that the shadows are not a good thing, but for me, they're not bad. So those shadows are just the spirits that are back there. And then once they're associated with you, if I've connected with you, then they step forward, so that they are no longer shadows after that. But for me, it's even been into, Bigfoot, searching for Bigfoot, doing all that, looking. Our next adventure is going to be looking for aliens and things, so just really just out there.
So the show that you're on now, is that what they do? First they look at, are there ghosts? And then they look for Bigfoot, and then they're going to look for aliens? Is that...
So Para with the Normal is the show. So I'm a psychic medium on there, and Mike Galliano is I guess you can call my protege. He is learning the paranormal, and with him being a comedian, I have my hands full. I never know what he's going to do. Our show is not scripted at all, and I have to just follow his lead with wherever he's going, whatever he's doing, and then whatever I'm picking up. So we are looking for answers to the paranormal. We have been to Alabama and did Bigfoot hunting. And so that was a fun experience. And we're looking next time, like I said, to go and search for aliens. And we're even talking about trying to see if we can get to the Skinwalker Ranch.
Nice. Do you guys have permission to go on that ranch?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, man, there was a big Paracon just this past weekend I really wanted to go to and missed. I forgot about it, unfortunately. But
The
it's
Michigan Paragon?
yeah, it was in Utah, not too far from me, and
Okay.
I really wanted to go because they went to the ranch and everything.
Oh, wow, that would have been cool.
I know. So backing up just a little bit, and then we'll get into your show because I want to talk about that too. Kelly says, "Love Mike and MaryLynn together, respectful, professional, and fun." Yeah, you guys are really professional, considering Mike's little hiccups with like the cookies and the Scooby snacks and everything else, the Twizzlers, whatever else.
Right? You never know what kind of snacks he's going to have. And we actually was just in Michigan with Kelly. So we got to do an investigation with her a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Okay, so tell me about when you were 4. So a lot of mediums who report seeing ghosts and things at such a young age, they say, oh, it was so scary. They were scared. That was not my experience. It's different for everybody though, right? So yes. What was your experience with this?
Mine was pretty simple. That it's just my mom brought it to my attention because I was sitting on the front porch and I was talking to the lady. There was a lady standing there with me and I'm talking to her and I'm petting this cat. So she comes walking out and asks me, who are you talking to? So I was like, I'm talking to the lady. And she said, well, what does she look like? So I described her hair, the dress she was wearing. And she said, well, what are you doing with your hands? Well, I was petting the cat. And so I described the cat to her. Well, we had just moved into this house and the lady that lived across the street actually lived in our house before. Her mother had passed away, who lived across the street. So she just moved into the bigger house and then rented out the house that we moved into. So come to find out, the lady I was talking to was her mother. So she was coming over to visit and it was their cat that I was petting.
Oh, wow.
So that was the beginning.
The cat was presumably already dead, right?
Yes. It was a spirit cat.
So your mother, did she have abilities as well?
Not so much. It mostly comes from my father's side.
Okay.
And I know that's unusual. It's usually on the mom's side, but it came from my father. She knew how to read tarot and stuff like that, but not really intuitive or anything. I lost her when I was 19, so don't know too much about it. So she may have had more abilities that she never talked to me about.
Got it. But your dad, presumably, he's the one that had all of the abilities. Did they teach you at a young age? No.
So my dad wasn't around, and it was actually his grandmother or his mother who had the abilities. So it was the women in the family on my dad's side. But okay. He wasn't around either, and so did not have anybody to teach me. It was something that living in Texas had to keep it quiet because people didn't believe in stuff like that. So just kept it quiet, did my own thing. And then once I actually moved out to Las Vegas is when I let loose. I was able to meet the people and, that were into it. And kind of, I say I met my tribe.
Yeah, Las Vegas is kind of like that, isn't it? Anything goes here.
Yep.
I love Vegas because of that. There's a lot of, especially lately, there's a lot of disadvantages of living in Las Vegas, but there's a lot of pluses too. Like
absolutely.
You can run down the street in a pair of Speedos and nobody bats an eye. I've seen this in person.
Yep.
This totally hot guy went running down the strip in Speedos. It's my first day in Las Vegas as a resident.
Oh,
I kid you not. I'm sitting out. I was at Hex, right across from the fountains, eating lunch with a friend, and this totally hot guy comes running by. No shoes, no shirt, tight pair of Speedos, just jogging down the street like there was nothing. Nobody batted an eye at this guy.
No complaints. Well, that's like down in Fremont, they have all the people that go down there in all of those costumes and pasties. And there's one guy that runs around in a diaper or a tutu. And it's a mess down there.
It is what it is, though. But I guess what I'm trying to say, though, is that you're right, because I lived in Nashville for 15 years and I couldn't say anything about mediumship, not to anyone at work, not to some of my closest friends. And even now, there's a lot of those friends that I've hung out with for years who have actually unfriended me because I've come out with the mediumship. They're just too Christian. They can't handle it. I'm going straight to hell as far as they're concerned.
Yep.
So
I was told that I was worshiping the devil.
yeah. Doing the devil's doings.
Yes. Because we're not supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, so growing up like that though, like how did you find your bearings with that?
So for me, I was kind of a loner all the time because I felt different. I felt, I was different. So I kind of stayed to myself. I didn't want anybody to find out what I was going through. So I just stayed to myself. And that's where I started writing my stories. So I have a really vivid imagination for storytelling. And so that's why I wrote my books. But that's how I would handle it, is just doing it that way. And then it was a small group of friends as I got older. Only those select few people knew that I had my abilities, and I would do things with them at home, but I never did anything in public with it.
Right, right. Did you ever come to a point where you had to come out in the public? And what was that like for you?
Well, that's when I did it in Las Vegas. I left Texas. It was about 16 years ago, moved to Las Vegas, and then talking to a friend there, she was working at a psychic shop, started talking to me, and she said, well, you need to come in and try this. And then that's where I did go and work there for a little bit. It's like, so that was me getting out there. And then after I realized, hey, I can really do this, then it was something that I just started doing it on my own.
Awesome. And you just never looked back since?
Nope.
What did you lose friends and things?
Oh, yeah.
In the process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that even family members that has stopped talking because they didn't believe in it.
It's very strange how that works out, isn't it?
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm going to go back to when you were 4 again. And I know I keep honing in on this because it's such an interesting topic. Not too many people from 4 to 6 years old can say logistically that they were seeing ghosts at such a young age. So how do you navigate? Like, I'm trying to figure this out myself, because when I was growing up, I didn't have that fear factor that a lot of mediums talk about. They were so scared that they couldn't do this or that. These were my friends.
Right.
They were more of a comfort thing for me growing up. Is that how it was with you?
For me, yes, it was also a comfort, but the way I would see it, it was almost like they had a glow around them. So I knew the difference. That's a real person versus this is the spirit. Once I started realizing that, I was able to, I can't talk about them in front of somebody else, but I would have people that would come and visit, and even vivid dreams. But it's something that at 4, it was natural. And my mom told me I had to keep it quiet, but I can do it at the house with her, but not in public. But I was able to do what I wanted to do at that age. So I was okay with it.
Gotcha. So then you go on and you write these books. How many books do you have?
I have 10 right now.
You have 10 books.
10, yes. And they're paranormal fantasy with werewolves, vampires, and all that. So I have my own little fantasy world.
So, you know what, though, with any kind of fantasy writing, there's always an element of truth behind everything. Yep. So for you in the fantasies, are you the main character? Do you fit in anywhere in this?
I do. I have some traits of the main character and then some of others, because the book is, I have 6 books in a series, and then I have some standalones. So in each one of them, it has a bit of me in each one of them. And like I tell everybody, some of it's true, some of it's fiction. You'll never know which one it is.
Oh, I want to know about the true stories.
Well, I can't tell you. You have to read the books.
Oh, dang it. Well, fine. If you don't want to talk about your books, we'll just mosey on to another topic.
But yeah, they're vampires and like I said, werewolves. And so I kind of took you know how in most books, the werewolves are the male is the main character. Mine is a female. So that's why I wanted to have a strong female character. And she ended up being a werewolf that was turned late in life. And there's reason behind it.
It's very interesting because there's a lot coming out about like the goddesses and God is a woman and all of that. Is that kind of the same line that you were taking?
Never thought about that. Yeah, that it didn't enter my mind on that.
I guess, because especially in the paranormal, you don't have any strong female characters in the paranormal right now.
Right. That is
Like
true.
even the TV shows, it's all predominantly men if you think about it.
Or it's a couple. You have the male and the female, but the male is usually the stronger one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's kind of in life, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be more so though and it's kind of like, when you think about the paranormal, it's more along the lines of supernatural, it's more spiritualism, so, and it's just on that edge of almost like religiosity, which is mainly male predominant. So it's kind of interesting to think of it in those terms.
Well, I guess for me, the way I look at it is there's more females in paranormal because we seem to have a little bit more of an open mind to be able to look at things like that. And for the men that I've come across who are open to it, there's still a lot of skepticism, but then they become true believers after a while, but for me, it's more predominantly women in the field from what I can see. But
that's more open.
Yes.
Yeah, that's more open.
It's the men.
When you look at the paranormal teams, they're usually always men with equipment and and then they'll have the female and she's always the medium. She's never like, unless you're Lauren, which she's really cool, but you never see a woman in there who's the skeptic with all the equipment. It's always the men in the paranormal.
I guess I've been in different groups because all the groups that I've hung out with and gone to, it's usually the women who are the stronger ones on that. I've had a few of the men that were not the skeptics and they were kind of looking into it, but the women were holding the equipment and, they were being the one trying to debunk everything. So it's like, I think it just depends on the demographics and where you're located and who you're hanging out with.
I love that. So what's your work now with Para with the Norm?
So what's my work?
Yeah, you go in. So what is your role there? You go in and you pretty much pick up on spirit for Mike?
So what we do is Mike finds the locations and then we go check it out. So the way it started is because Mike had a lot of loss in his family. So I had done a few things for him a couple of years ago. And he called me to see if I was interested in doing paranormal with him. So he started the show, got it going, and brought me on. And I'm actually teaching him to investigate, teaching him what to look for, and just to be present for when he's doing these investigations. And that's a challenge.
Is he coming along, though? It seems like he is.
He's learning, but he also regresses quite a bit. So when he's when we're doing our filming, I think he forgets what he's doing. And then his stomach dictates a lot of what he's going to do.
I could just see you guys like sitting around doing EVP work and then his stomach is just growling the whole time.
That has happened. And all you can hear is this looking over at him. And then he's usually, or else you hear the crinkle of a wrapper. And it's him trying to sneak a little nibble here or there.
I don't understand how he stays so skinny.
He's all over the place. I say that all the time. He's all over the place mentally and physically. It's something he just cannot sit still. So he has a very high metabolism.
Did you know him when you lived in Vegas?
That's actually where I met him, was on the radio show for the Rock and Comedy Show. I came on as a guest, and that's how I met him. And that was about 9 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, so I met him in Boulder. I went to go talk to him for lunch, and he rode up on a bike, and he's just kind of all over the place.
I love it. Such a nice guy. He will give you the shirt off of his back.
It's like, man, I wish I would have known a couple years ago that he was here,
yeah,
in town.
Well, he grew up there, so he was born and raised in Vegas.
Interesting. I need to pick his brain about some stuff about Vegas.
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, this is like the land of, I don't know how many people that are into mediumship and spiritualism that I've met since I've been here. It's a lot.
There's a lot there. That's why I said whenever I went there, I felt like I had found my tribe. But there's also, unfortunately, a lot of fake.
Yeah.
So, and that's where you have to weed through and know who you're getting in tangled up with.
Have you been to the Haunted Museum since you've been here?
Yeah. So I actually, when they first opened it, I filmed with Zach Bagans when they did the museum, and because I had a friend of mine who had a piece that she wanted to get donated and get on the show, so we actually did filming with them there. But the location is definitely haunted.
Yeah, it is. So I did a overnight investigation there, and it was one of those little flashlight tours around Christmas time. So there was only 6 of us in the whole building for this investigation that we did, and the EVPs I got from this place was spectacular. Like the doll that I forget her name. Who's the doll that? No, it's not Annabelle. He's got, it's Peggy. It's Peggy.
Yes.
I actually caught EVPs where she's speaking in a British accent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty. And she had, it's interesting because my old roommate who I used to live in Nashville with, I wrote a book called Dancing with Demons. And it's about an experience I had like 10 years ago. And she was my roommate through this whole thing. And so we all live in Vegas now, long story short, because of a tornado. But there's about 10 or 12 of us here now.
Oh, okay.
But long story short, we go to this museum, and this Peggy had like these rosary beads around her neck. And she goes, "How do you like your rosary beads?" Because I guess the last time she was there, Peggy didn't have these rosary beads. So it was something new. She likes to go to that museum. But Peggy, as clear as day, you hear an EVP, "I hate those." In a British accent. It was crazy.
That is crazy. So somebody just put the beads on. Isn't she enclosed in glass?
Now she is.
She is now.
The first time I went there, she was not. But now she's like in this box. And it seems like her room got smaller. And, because it's actually a really tiny house that he has all this stuff in.
Yep.
It's an old 1930s home, and it's small, like one of those little Vegas boxes pretty much. And he's made it into this museum. So I feel like every time he acquires something, all the other rooms get smaller and smaller.
It's because he's cramming so much in there. So yeah, he had a lot whenever I was in there, and he had just gotten the Dr. Kevorkian van and had put that in the Charles Manson TV. So I was actually there when they brought that in. So you can feel the energy from that big time.
So we did get an EVP from the Kevorkian band too. My friend, again, they always talk to her. She asked, "Is anybody here?" And then you hear a male's voice say Kevorkian.
Oh, wow.
But how can all of this stuff hold that kind of energy?
Everything has energy.
Everything. I know, but is it okay? Is it the history side of it? Because this is the other thing that was brought to my attention just recently. Is he piping this stuff in to make it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he knows how to do that, but I don't know if he's doing that or not.
And that's what I don't know. That's something that only he and whoever works there is going to know that. But with certain things, you can have things have energy that just by holding it, you're putting energy into it. And it could be, but you're talking about, is he piping in to where you can hear the EVPs, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Is he like calling this stuff in to continually haunt this stuff? Is it? Because I've heard that too. I mean,
you can pull energy too. You can pull whenever. So that's in Las Vegas, out in Good Springs, Nevada. I was doing haunted lockdowns at the Pioneer Saloon. And there would be nights that it would be kind of slow. And as a medium, because you can open up and pull energies to you, that's where you get activity going. So I'm sure that whatever he's doing, he's also generating that activity so that way it stays active in his museum.
It's a very interesting concept, you know.
But yeah, you can take a pen, you know, it's going to have energy in it. You can keep holding on to it, and it's going to have that energy. You tell somebody else, and it's all in the intent. And, you know, you're going there to find this, you're looking for this, and you're going to find it eventually.
So as a medium, do you know how to do that more so than other people?
I've tuned in on how to do it, yes. But I don't know that it's necessarily more than other people. I have the ways that I do things, but I don't know, you know, what your level is and what other people's levels are. They could be doing something that, like I said, mine is all intuition for me and self-taught. Didn't go through any kind of training. So whatever comes to me, as I say, you know, I've been given the information through my guides.
Got it. It's very different as a medium when you go into these paranormal investigations, isn't it?
Yes.
So I know, for instance, like a lot of people that I investigate with, they go in almost like a clean slate. It's hard to describe. Like they don't pick up the energy. They don't carry that stuff home with them at the end of the night. I seem to carry a lot of that grief home. There's been some locations that I've been to where, I don't know, I just carry those feelings with me a lot of times. It's probably a problem with, you know, grounding and that sort of thing. But it's, you know, you still are affected in a certain way, more so than other people.
Absolutely. And that's to where you talk about the grounding, and that's where the protection. Whenever I go in, I'm protected. It's an automatic thing for me because I've been doing it for so long, but it's just an automatic protection. And yes, I can feel. I've had one location where I actually had to leave, Trans-Allegheny. Had to leave out of one of the areas there because of just overwhelming. And I started crying, and I don't normally cry on things like this, but that one just got to me. When we went to Gettysburg, just the energies coming over the hill, getting into the battlefield. I knew the moment that we crossed onto the battlefield. I just started getting sick in my stomach, felt like someone just pounding me in the head. So I get the physical and the mental.
Is there any spirit that you come across that absolutely changed the way you view the paranormal?
No, so far not. I've had things rush me. So it was through like mirrors and stuff, but it just made me more cautious whenever I'm doing something new. But it hasn't really changed my point of view on how I see things.
Gotcha. So you never been to a location where, have you been to a location multiple times where you're picking up the same spirit?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's whenever I was doing the haunted lockdown at the Pioneer Saloon. Repeats, you know, over and over again. I've been to Goldfield. I've been out there several times and
I love Goldfield.
I do too. Yes, I want to go back into the hotel.
I go there all the time because I'm actually writing I'm actually doing a project right now in Goldfield, and so I've been frequently going to Goldfield Hotel, just hanging out with historians and doing some investigations there and things like that. But
so they have opened it back up?
Not necessarily. So you have to know the right people to get in there. I happen to know somebody that lets me in every time I go up there.
Okay.
But I don't know, because she is the person I'm kind of working with she's very fearful of some of the spirits that are in that place. I guess there's like a lot of hostility. They've been known to possess people, but that hasn't been my experience since I've been there. It's more of there's a woman spirit there that I converse with, and it's more of what's happened to her, sort of thing.
Well, there's one that's in one of the bathrooms in the bathtub.
Yeah.
There's the ladies there. And then there's also in one of the closet areas, there's a little boy that's in there.
There's several kids in there, yes. There's a man that I've come across, but he's not as, like everybody makes him out to be like possessing them and that sort of thing. That hasn't been the case for me so far.
And I
So
think a lot of that too is people think that they're possessed just because they start feeling anxiety. It's not possession. It's something that, and a lot of people talking about demons. Everything is demons,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
all this, and it's not. 99% of the time, it is not a demon. Now there are times where you have the dark shadows, and it's bordering on demons, but it's not quite a demon.
right. Goldfield is interesting though, because when you really look at it from the human side of it, this was a town that was very rough,
Yes.
very rough town. The person I'm writing about, she's getting off a train at the age of 19, and then she's entering this town where everybody is just concerned about get rich quick, and they're all manipulating each other to killing each other. There's all kinds of stuff going on. They're stealing each other's claims, claim jumping.
Right.
So when you have a town like that, of course you're going to come across ghosts, though, that aren't very nice, because these weren't nice people to begin with.
Right. Yeah, because just because you die doesn't mean your personality's gone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're mean in this lifetime, you're going to be mean when you go over to the other side. Now,
Exactly.
you can change when you're over there, but you're still going to have those frustrations, those irritations. And if you have a tendency to be angry all the time, you're taking that with you.
So you have like these ghost people that come in, like us, these investigators, and then we're dealing with them, but they're also, are they dealing with us? Like, what do they think of us coming in there?
That's why we investigate. We're trying to find that out. Because there's sometimes that, just the communication is, they get tired of, it's almost like they're on display and they get tired, and it depends on the person. If they don't like the people's energy, they stay back, or it just, people say that it's died down. It's because they either don't have the energy to continue, or they're just tired of being on display.
Got it. I know there's a lot of places now that when you sign the waivers and everything to get into some of these haunted locations, they'll actually say that you're not allowed to cross people over. Have you come across that?
I have come across that, and it's sometimes that I've gone to locations to where they're asking to be crossed over, and I can't, because I don't have permission from the owners to be able to do that. So if I sign the paper, no way. But if I go somewhere that is brand new, nobody's ever investigated there, and I have someone that approaches me that wants to cross over, I help them, because I can't just leave someone hanging.
Right. Is there like how to ask the question? You already know what I'm going to ask. Is it fair to do that to a spirit that's passed on and not help them when they ask for help?
I don't think it's fair. And that's why it's something that I have a hard time with it. If they're asking for help, I want to. But it's also, I'm legally bound to that contract that I can't do anything about it. Now, if they leave the property and they're not there and I'm no longer in the investigation, I can help them all day long. But I just won't do it while I'm on the investigation.
That's interesting. Do you think that these spirits get stuck?
Yes. There's some that do get stuck because they don't know what's happened to them, or they are afraid of what's going to be going on the other side if they do go ahead and cross over. But I do think
that a lot. Like they're afraid of judgment, especially if they're from like the 30s time frame where they were doing a lot of that.
Prohibition.
Yeah.
Well, and that's pretty much even back in Western time, back in the 1800s, some of them are stuck, or some of them have stuck around because they are afraid of, well, I was such a bad person. Are these shadows coming after me? And that's to where I did just do a investigation, and I can't say too much on it because we did film it, but it was to the point of it was affected by a past life. So the shadows around a person, because of their past lives, because they bring traits of that stuff with them to the new life, so those shadows can still be around.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
What if you're a spirit and you're hanging out at somewhere like Goldfield, but then you're bringing on all of these other past lives as well? So you have all these pieces of you kind of floating around Goldfield.
You may not necessarily be in Goldfield every lifetime. So the one lifetime you could be here, you could be over in a different country. You can actually even be an animal. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you reincarnate to the same location every time. It could be somewhere different.
When somebody goes in and says that they're doing soul retrieval, is that what they're doing? Retrieving the pieces from all these past lives?
Yes. They're trying to piece the puzzles together and figure out where they are trying to go in this lifetime. So my personal belief is the more you become spiritual in each lifetime, that means you're not going to have to come back and reincarnate. We only reincarnate to make us better people and to, I say, for the white light. You're going to have the dark, but you want to be on the light as much as possible. So that for me is reincarnate until you become spiritual and you're helping other people, and then you don't have to reincarnate anymore.
So you do Reiki and you do life coaching.
Yes.
So you kind of do like healing for people.
I do. Yes.
Is that why you do that?
It is, but I also find that it's healing for me too. So if I don't help somebody, it's like my energies build up and then I physically start getting sick. And it's to the point is like, I have to be able to release those energies, being able to help others just to be able to find their spiritual path or know the paths that they're on, because you have multiple paths. And it's like, which one do you take? In the end, you're going to get to the same result, but what are you going to do in the meantime? Which path are you going to take? The 5 mile, or are you going to go straight through? So you have those different paths, and that's why I try to help people find those paths.
Do you believe that when you're continually channeling these other energies, that it can make you physically sick?
Oh, absolutely. And that's to where after I do an investigation, I'm literally starving and I have to go eat. So because it takes so much energy. So I'll go and grab something to eat, but it's to the point of it can make you sick. I've actually developed fibromyalgia because of it. And you'll notice a lot of mediums have fibromyalgia because we build up all of that energy. And as a Reiki master, you learn to release it. But it was later in life whenever I learned that. So I ended up getting fibromyalgia before I learned how to release.
There's a lot of mediums actually that get sick.
Yes.
Overall, there's a lot of mediums that have cancer. There's a lot of them. I know quite a few that's committed suicide over the years.
Well, it's because they take on, like I said, they take on that energy and it gets into their bodies. And so whenever I'm doing it, I'm imagining it sitting on my shoulders. And then I release it. And you'll see me whenever I'm doing it, I'll shake my hands. That's getting rid of it, getting it off of me, taking it from them and getting it off. So I'm kind of a pastor. And I think that's to where the ones who are getting really sick, they're not allowing it to pass through them. They're bringing it and holding on to it.
What about investigators who they're not mediums, but they're going in and searching for this energy? Does that affect them?
It does to a point, but a lot of times, because they don't know what they're looking at, they don't realize how it's affecting them. Because I've seen several people that have gone in and doing their investigations, and then they start getting sick when they get home because they didn't protect themselves while they were there. But like you said, I know somebody who, after they started investigating, they ended up getting cancer as well.
I believe that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
for sure. After, I know that's like going out on the ledge and crazy talk and all, I'm sure, but
you can't tell. That's why we do this investigation, and that's why we're looking to see, what is out there. We are still trying to find answers. I don't think anybody has the real answers to any of it. That's why we all keep looking.
So, okay, you work with Mike all the time.
Yes.
Trying to turn the conversation to something a little more lighter here. How does he not, like, what does he do on these investigations? Does he ever get infected by the spirits? Does he believe in the paranormal? Is he?
So when we first started, he does believe, but he was skeptical, but now he has seen a lot of stuff and he believes, but he also feels. And it's stuff, he's got a little bit of intuition, but he is still learning. But for the show, this is his character, but he's learning different techniques. And it's something that whenever he's doing it, the comedy part of it is mostly directed to himself, having fun while he's doing the investigation. He's never, ever making fun of the location, the spirits, or anything like that. All of the fun is on him, and then part of it is my reactions to him. So it's to the point is like, all I can do is sit and shake my head sometimes.
How is it, are you teaching him like how to, I guess like when you're teaching him, you're actually teaching the audience.
Yes.
You like how to get through an investigation, how to ground yourself. How would you teach somebody how to ground themselves?
Well, for me, I start with the white light. I always say start at your toes because your grounding starts from the ground and goes up. So and it's just a practice that I do every single day. I start at my toes, think of the white light, and just slowly go up the body until you close it around your head. For me, it's like a zipper because I've been doing it so long as I can just think about it and it's done. But I tell everybody the best time is lay down and just concentrate on your toes. Think of the white light, let it go all the way up. If your mind starts wandering, start over and do it again. But usually that's a protection for you at night. And then I do the same thing every morning. So
do you use like gemstones or anything like that?
You can probably see I have crystals all over the place. Because I do chakra balancing and alignment as well. And I'm a chakra healer or a crystal healer.
Do certain crystals mean certain things for,
Absolutely.
like, do you use certain crystals for investigations?
For me, black obsidian is a kind of the protection. I use that. And I use purple amethyst, and I like clear crystal quartz. Those are my three main ones. But if I want communication for people to open up, I'll bring my lapis lazuli. So each one of them has a different quality that you can use to be able, and it's all in the intent. And how are you going to use them? You can use all clear crystal quartz and just use the energy from those. For me, it's kind of weird, but whenever I hold a crystal, I can actually taste it. If it's a true crystal, I can taste it.
Really? So, wait, really? So what does obsidian taste like?
For me, it's almost like a copper taste, but it's a dirt copper, if that makes sense. And that's the way most of them, because I'll put it in my hand and then it starts tingling and then I have the taste. And I know it sounds weird, but
does this all work different with, okay, so you went out and you were looking for ghosts, then you were looking for Bigfoot, and now you're going to look for aliens. Is it different? Like, are aliens actually ghosts, and is Bigfoot like a spirit being?
Well, that's something that we were kind of tossing around is like, for Bigfoot, are they from another dimension? Are there portals that they come through? So that's been a debate that we've been kind of trying to investigate and talk about as far as aliens and stuff go, outer space, so that we haven't delved into that yet. So I don't know how we would approach that yet.
God, a lot of the Native Americans that I've met just in the Las Vegas area, they do believe that. They believe that Bigfoot is actually a spirit being from their past, and he's not actually a good being. He's actually a not so good being that's coming back from.
So is that a Bigfoot or is that a skinwalker?
It's a Bigfoot.
Really? Because I haven't heard that, huh?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And so they believe that somehow a lot of these mystical beings have gotten released, and I can't remember how. And now they're all over the place. Like Thunderbird, Bigfoot is one of them. Skinwalkers are more like, from my understanding, is more of like a witch doctor kind of thing that's creating that.
The shamans for the Native American.
Yeah. And then water babies. I'm not sure what a water baby is, but
I've heard the term, but I'm not familiar with that.
I think I've come across something about that, though. There's a ghost town here up in the mountains that first year I was in Vegas, of course, I was like obsessed with all the gold camps and stuff. So I would find them on Google Maps and go hike to them. One of them, my car got stuck, and this baby colt runs out in front of my car, and just out of the blue, this little baby horse was like running laps around my car.
Oh, wow.
I stop my car, and I get out, and there's this Joshua tree, and there's all of these dolls. There's 5 dolls around this Joshua tree, and they were all like, they were bound. Their hands were bound. Their feet were bound. Their eyes were burned out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Someone was doing a ritual up there.
Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this place was so remote that there was no cell service. I was at least like 2.5 hours from any kind of civilization. So who would do something like that?
A lot of people do. It's just their beliefs of them trying to bring darker energies through. And a lot of them are, younger generation trying to experiment and see what they can get into. It's kind of like playing with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
A kid that playing with the Ouija board, don't know how to open it up or don't know how to close it properly, and you're bringing things through. And that's where I think some of the beings that has come through is through portals and things like that.
That's where I was going with this. So I think that has something to do with bringing forth like water babies, and that's what I've heard anyway. One of the Native Americans that I've spoken with about that whole incident, he had to do like all of this cleansings and stuff for me. But
so what did he do to cleanse? I'm just curious. For me, it's like, it's a learning thing for me too.
But he did like the shamanic prayers. He gave me some rocks. He did like a lot of prayer stuff for me.
Okay.
Like I couldn't really tell you exactly what the incantations were or anything like that.
Most of the time you won't be able to. Because you're in the moment. What did he say?
Yeah, most of it was in a different language.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like even doing readings for me is like, I'll read somebody and then they'll talk to me a couple days later. Well, you said this, is like, I don't always remember what I tell them because it's like vomit. It just comes out. And I don't remember because I talk to so many different people and there's so many different things going on. It's like, oh yeah. And then it'll, it clicks, but half the time I don't remember what I tell people.
Which is, I think that's a good thing though sometimes when
I'm not retaining it.
What's that?
I'm not retaining it. I'm not holding on to their negative energies.
Yeah, exactly. You're not retaining that energy. So well, what do you have coming up? What are you doing? Paracons? Are you teaching? What's happening now for you?
So we do a lot of Paracons, but with Para with the Normal, I have a thing here so I don't forget. So it's exclusively on BeaconTV. So it's stream BeaconTV.com. If you want to go watch the show, you can, if you sign up for it. Paranorm with the number 10 is a code that you can use for a discount. Then we also have a new episode that's going to be releasing soon. And then we have a premium episode that's going to be going on there. We did a mine tour when we were in Virginia City. So they would not allow us to investigate, but they allowed us to do a tour. So with Mike's twist on it.
Oh.
Yeah, that definitely very interesting. And I can just say that I don't think I have laughed so much that I did with that one.
Is that the episode where he's holding the donkey poo?
Yes.
Did I just let the cat out of the bag on that one?
It's not donkey poo. It's dinosaur poo.
Some kind of poop.
Yep. Yes.
Poop is poop, you know?
But yeah, it's funny. So we also have Sidekicks Paranormal is our podcast that we do every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. And then as far as Paracons go, in October, I think you're going to be at the Haunted Rock Island Roadhouse. Mike
Yes.
is going to be there as well.
Are you speaking? You're speaking, right?
No. And I won't be there, but Mike will be. I think he's just going as a guest, and he's hanging out with Josh Purvis with Searchers.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and
I love
representing BeaconTV. So I had to keep getting BeaconTV in there.
What's that code again for a discount?
Paranorm 10.
Hold on, I gotta write that down. Paranorm 10.
Yep, the number 10.
I'm gonna go on there and sign up for this.
Okay. And then we have the ComCon October 10th through the 13th in Virginia City. We are sponsors on there, so we'll be going back to that one October 10th through the 13th. And then we have the Supernatural Soiree on the Battleship in New Jersey. So that one's going to be October 26th.
Sweet.
And then November, December, we're filming more episodes. And then I know I have one that's in April. So this one's something that I'm working with Kelly Hapala. She is the founder of Own Your Path. Own Your Path. And she's doing a Paraventure virtual Paracon in April. So I'm helping, and Mike and I are helping her with that. And we are sponsors and trying to help promote that. It is helping with Autism Alliance of Michigan. So that's where all the proceeds will be going for that. And so that's going to be April 5th. And for info, it's info at ownyourownpath.net.
Well, I have to ask you a question. We still got a few minutes. So I wanted to know what your takes are on Virginia City.
Absolutely love it. I would move there in a heartbeat. It feels like going home. That's kind of like for me, Las Vegas.
Everybody says that. Me too. Yeah. Me too.
And it's something, and I think it's because of the spiritual part of it. All of the people who are attracted to the spiritual, it's home for them because it just feels natural. The only thing I thought was kind of weird in Virginia City is like everybody smokes. And it's like, I'm not a smoker. So walking outside, like, yeah.
You know, a lot of people smoke in Vegas too, though, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, they do. But you just don't notice it as much. I think in Virginia City, because everything is just so the street, and it's like so many people there. And it's like they just stand outside doing it. It's like, go over there.
You know what, though? It's kind of fitting because people back in the day, that's what they did. That's the number one item I find. I like to go metal detecting all the time. I look for old coins out in these ghost towns. I look for old coins in gemstones.
Oh, okay.
Near the old mines and stuff. That's why I'm on Google Maps looking for the gold camps. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
But one of the number one items that I find is those old little tin cans that had the little cigarillo thingies in them. You know what I'm talking about?
They roll their own.
Yep.
I
have a whole bucket of those things.
Oh, wow. But yeah, they didn't have anything. They couldn't go gamble or anything like that. So their pastime was smoking.
Yeah. So.
What's your kitty's name?
Oh, that's Loki.
Loki?
After the marble. Hold on. Let me grab one real quick for you. That's Loki.
Mischievous.
Yes, he is very, he's my baby though. I just love him, but he is bad. He is really bad.
A fitting name.
But he's too cute to yell at. It's one of those things where
yelling at a cat's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
I feel like you're crazy.
I can't have a Christmas tree or anything because of him.
Oh no!
But he's, I can't yell at him or anything, so he just gets away with it. So, yep. Well, MaryLynn, thank you so much for being on my show tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's been
kind of a weird show. I know I'm not real focused tonight. It's because I have big news. I've been working on a magazine for the last month, and it's finally going to be sold.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited. The initial release is going to be on Friday.
Okay.
So for those interested, look up erieexpeditionsmagazine.com.
Nice.
You can order it. You can order a print. You can order it digitally. but it will be available. The first issue is about haunted Transylvania. So
That's a location that I want to go to.
I tell you what, that place, I want to go back.
So you've been?
Yes. So I went on this tour with Mysterious Adventures Tours maybe 2 years ago. And it was still COVID, so not a lot of people was on this trip. It was like maybe, I think 10 people went. So a very small group.
Perfect.
Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of people at the tourist places either because, again, the whole COVID thing. When we just went all through the Carpathian Mountains, we went in the Vlad Tape's footsteps. We went to Corbin Castle. We investigated Corbin Castle actually at night. We went to the most haunted forest in the middle of the night. It was a really cool trip.
Right. Yeah, that would be fun. So, because I have Scot and Irish in my heritage. So it's something I want to go over there and just visit all the castles because there's energy over there.
Oh, there's so much. It's like as soon as you get over there, it hits you. It's just everywhere.
Yep.
And there's just so many layers. I don't know about you, but when you go into a place that have had people, like for the US, it's usually like what, 200 to 300 years.
Yep.
Over there, you're talking about 1,000 years at least on some of these places. So you have like layer upon layer upon layer, and it gets confusing after a while. As a medium. It's like there's just so many layers. How do you pinpoint what's what?
So that's where because the way I see it is imagine about 100 TVs up in front of you. So when you're doing a reading, you've got all this stuff playing on these 100 TVs, and I have to pick which one goes with you. So that's kind of the same, because so when I'm doing the reading, you see me look away. That's me zoning in on which one does it really apply to you. Same thing when you go to locations, all of these different layers coming in. I went to Japan, and I was over there, went to one of their locations, and it was 32 AD. 32.
Wow.
So 2,000 years old, almost 2,000 is just like, it was just the energy was off the chart.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So love that. And I would love to be able just to go and explore.
You know what? Come to think of it, I think I lied to you. The US does have places that are that old. When you go to somewhere like Chaco Canyon, some of the Native American places around Las Vegas even.
Well, they do have, but they just don't promote them.
Right. But you know what I noticed? When you go to places like that, it's like a vibration, but there's not really an intelligent haunting. It's very strange. It's more peaceful, and at least that's been my experience with that stuff.
Well, that's like going to Sedona. Whenever you go there, they have their hot spots, but there's locations they'll say that is very active. I've gone there, didn't feel anything, but go around the corner and it's right there, so I don't know if it moves or what, but the Sedona is one of the locations that I can go there, as just like Virginia City. I can go to Sedona as well. Just love it there, but with just the energies and yeah.
What's your favorite location?
Everywhere. Anywhere that I can travel.
Everywhere. Well, where can people find your books?
Amazon.com. It's under MaryLynn Bast. It's the Heart of a Wolf series. And then I also have Haven is the New Haven is my vampire series. So Amazon, and I do have Kindle, paperback, and hardcover.
MaryLynn, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to The Gateway, your portal to the unexplained, the mystical, and the otherworldly, broadcast live from United Public Radio Network 107.7 FM New Orleans. Until next time.